Hi everyone, and welcome to Hear the Rare, Voices of the DIPG Community. My name is Rachna Prasad. On today's episode, we have Jill Morin, who's the mother of Luke Morin, a DIPG patient. After Luke's passing, Jill started Luke's Posse, which is committed to raising imperative funds that directly support DIPG research at Children's Hospital Colorado, a nationwide leader in DIPG research. Thank you, Jill, for taking the time out of your day to talk to me and so openly sharing Luke's story. I am humbled and honored to have had the opportunity to speak with you. Here is episode number 6 of Hear the Rare. So thank you so much for taking the time from your day to talk to me. I always enjoy meeting new people, and I think this is a very fun way to do that. So just thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I'll just get started with questions, and then we can just, talk about anything and see where it goes.
Great.
So can you just talk about your introduction to the DIPG, DMG community, and then how that led to what you're doing now?
Sure. My name is Jill Morin. I don't know if people know my name. And I was introduced to DIPG on April 8th of 2018, when after very sudden symptoms, we took my son to, it was probably about a week of symptoms. My son, Luke, was diagnosed with DIPG on April 8th of 2018. He was 5.5, and he died 17 days later.
So I'm so sorry.
This was my hard and fast introduction into the DIPG community. So we're here. I'm not sure if you can see. So this is my family. That's me when I had hair. Yeah, me when I shaved for St. Baldrick's this spring, so you could see me with hair. But my daughter, my husband Cam, my daughter Phoebe, and Luke there, who you can see is quite a ham. So I just wanted to share a picture.
Thank you.
I think that. Well, do you want me to elaborate a little bit on his
Whatever
symptoms?
You feel comfortable with, anything you want to share, yes.
I would like to elaborate, just because I think it's important for people to know. It's educational for parents, or for families, I should say. What happened with Luke is, in hindsight, there's probably things that he was, signs that he was, or symptoms that he was exhibiting probably, 3 to 4 weeks prior to, but nothing that would be super significant. So we noticed one day, it was a Monday, I was taking him to preschool, and he had just kind of been, didn't feel good, just didn't feel good. Mommy, I don't feel good. And we talked about, should we try to get to school or should we stay home? And so we ended up, we decided to get to school. And as I pulled into the parking lot, he vomited. So immediately took him home. Then that led to a pediatrician visit, which was, I think it's probably a virus. Let's stay at home and have him rest. And we did that for, I think, Monday and Tuesday. Thursday, I believe, we attempted school again, and he still wasn't feeling well. And there's one more vomiting incident. And then Friday, I was... interestingly enough, I was working at Children's Hospital Colorado as the fellowship coordinator for pediatric hematology and oncology. So as it turns out, I say that because that's where Luke was treated, and with my group of people, my family there. But Friday I was at work, and the school called and said he just doesn't feel well. So I left and picked him up and took him home. And it was about that time that we started noticing some drooling and just a different look in his eyes. Luke was very articulate, very very articulate little guy, good vocabulary, sharp
Mhm.
pronunciation, stuff like that. And that was kind of diminishing. But the thing that eventually, so I called the pediatrician a couple times and I just said, something's going on with my kid. It's
Mhm.
just not right. I know you think I'm the crazy mom that's calling. And this was a Friday, and so they said, if he isn't better tomorrow morning, give us a call. And so the thing that finally made us call in the morning is he couldn't get up on the bed. He couldn't climb up on the bed. So Sunday mornings we'd pile in the bed and, hang
Mhm.
out together. He was having trouble. So I got him to back to our pediatrician that
Mhm.
Saturday. And she did a very thorough examination and said, as what did she say to me? You could take him home and rest,
Mhm.
but as a mother myself, I would suggest taking him to the ER.
Mhm.
And of course, I said, we're going to the ER.
Yeah.
And that led to, let's see, we did a CT scan
Mhm.
that night in the ER, which showed something, got us up to I think it was the neurosurgery.
Mhm.
Um, I think we did a biopsy that weekend. I believe we did it somehow got done on a Sunday, which I think is
Mhm.
unheard of. And we got the results right that day, that this was DIPG, something I had never heard of,
Right. Yeah.
in that little room that they take you into. Um, and that that is my introduction to the DIPG community, and that is where that's how I've gotten involved.
Mhm. Mhm. Thank you for sharing, and I'm so sorry. It's
You're
always,
welcome.
so hard.
I think my situation where I was working in pediatric oncology, I was aware of
Mhm.
childhood cancer and I was aware of a lot of things, but I was still living my life thinking that it couldn't happen to me,
Mhm.
so I think that's one of the things that the bereaved parent community wants to just shout from the mountaintops
Mhm.
is it can happen to you,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it might be considered rare, hear the rare. It might be considered rare statistically, but man, once you're in that
Yeah.
community, you see these kids being diagnosed and dying every day. And we
Mhm.
just want to shout it from the mountaintops. We just want people to hear it. And yet we, at the same time, we're living our lives the same way prior to this
Mhm.
disaster. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then if you want, do you want to talk about like the work that you do now and how that's related to
Sure.
Luke's story and his memory?
Sure. Right now, immediately following, I believe, his diagnosis, we set up a fund at Children's Hospital
Mhm.
Colorado in Luke's name that goes directly to DIPG research, 100%, no
Mhm.
overhead, nothing. Um, and in a very short period of time, and so the research is going on at Children's Hospital of Colorado,
Mhm.
again, where he was treated. Um, and I think in a very short time, we were able to raise 150 to $200,000,
Amazing.
and we're continuing to get donations.
Mhm.
And but I just actually spoke with Luke's doctor
Mhm.
slash researcher, one of the head researchers there. It's Rajiv Vivekar.
Mhm.
And I spoke with Rajiv this week, and he was sharing with us some of the amazing work going on as a result of the dollars in
Mhm.
Luke's fund. And so that's been our primary focus. I have dabbed I've collaborated and tried to meet as many people, as many organizations as possible. I've done some advocacy work with the Moonshot for Kids initiative in Washington, D.C. I've had the opportunity to meet many of the leading families and
Mhm.
researchers in this community. But where we are now, so Luke's Fund kind of developed into Luke's Posse. We are not yet alone. We are not yet a standalone 501c3. We're still a fund underneath Children's Hospital Colorado. And at this time, we're kind of in the middle of, what are we going to do? Are we going to collaborate with another organization? Are we going to start another foundation? I think there's just a lot of things to consider and how I can be most effective in ensuring that this research is funded everywhere. And it's like, we'll just start here. So that is my passion, is getting awareness about DIPG and funding, because it's just time. It's time. There's been so many more advancements in other pediatric cancers. And so you understand, I'm preaching to the choir. These kids need research. These kids need research desperately. So that's my passion. And I believe that Luke chose me, and I will try to do him proud until the day I die and fight this. And
oh, that's so great. Yeah, definitely. I'm sure that he's very proud of everything you guys have done so far. It's amazing.
He is. We have conversations sometimes. He's proud. He is.
And then also, I think you mentioned you have like an event coming up or something like that.
I do. So Luke went to the Goddard School, one of the local Goddard schools here in Denver. And as soon as, he was there since, I think, probably 22, 20, maybe age one. And they approached us right after Luke's passing and said, we want to make sure, or we want to do our end of year fundraiser for DIPG research in honor of Luke this year. So we said, fantastic. We collaborated with them and had the first annual Fall Fest 5K in honor of Luke Morin. That was in 2018. We raised, I believe, $25,000 to $30,000. It was great. Yes. And last year was similar, around $25,000. And this year, due to the pandemic, it's all virtual, of course. It is the Fall Fest 5K in honor of Luke Morin, and you can walk, you can run, you can ride, you can skip, you can jog, you can do whatever you want. There's a 5K option and there's a 1 mile option.
Oh, that's great.
100% of the proceeds go to the Luke's Fund, DIPG research here. And the participants will get a special playlist that has a lot of Luke's favorite songs.
Oh, that's so nice.
And songs that our family likes. We're trying to figure out a way to just connect with the participants, because we can't right now. So I thought about the playlist. And Luke loved music. We are a music family, so so that's fun. So that's coming up. And again, it's all November, all virtual. You choose the date, time, and it is hopefully, we'll do what we can. It's a tough year, and I understand that, but just as cancer won't stop, we're not going to stop.
No, definitely. But that's so great. Like, it's very flexible and stuff. So I think it's easier for many people to participate, which I think is amazing.
Yeah. And that's what I thought too. It's like, we don't really need to do all just one day. You might as well choose a day, and it's it's starting off a busy time of year. So, we're pretty excited about it. So that's starting November 1.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I will definitely, I'll add the information on the website when I post your video as well, so people can find that.
Perfect. I guess I didn't share that part of Luke's story. We also did 2 radiations. And because, the plan in the beginning, we had hope. We said, he's going to be the one, you have that hope. It's like, my son or my kid's going to be the survivor. And that's great. I want, you need to have hope. So we had hope, and we said, we're going to kick this thing, and we're going we're going to do this. We're going to do whatever we need to do. So we did do, they sent us home after the initial visit with and then the biopsy, which did have the H23KM mutation.
Yeah.
I thought I'd specify that. I probably butchered it, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
And so they sent us, it was a weekend. They said, go home, enjoy the weekend. We started radiation that Monday. So we did 2 radiations, and then Luke was just getting progressively worse. He couldn't talk. He couldn't swallow. I mean, if he wasn't able to have any liquids because he was aspirating everything.
Oh, wow.
He couldn't talk. He would try so hard to communicate. He was starting to have posturing, like, some of that stuff. He was so uncomfortable and just, but still such a little, I mean, he was smiles all the way, all the way until he couldn't smile anymore. So that led us back to the PICU. I can't quite remember the day, but in the PICU, they finally got him comfortable, and he wasn't able to breathe on his own. They finally got him comfortable, and then we went into another room, and these were all doctors that I was working with, and it was so amazing to see. This is a side note, how amazing they are every day, but then I'll be on the other side as a patient's family.
Right.
So we went into another room with a doctor that I love dearly, and they said, we got the 3 options that no parent wants to hear any of this, but one was to do nothing. That's not what we were going to do. 2 was to intubate Luke, but that would most definitely cause cardiac arrest. And 3 would be to keep him in a medically induced coma until he transitioned, which is what we did. And we kept him comfortable, and they gave us a beautiful, the biggest room they had, and we pushed the beds together so that we could lay together, and family members came and hugged and read, and we just did. We were very adamant about maintaining a good vibes only in Luke's room, because I learned, and I believe as well, I learned quickly just from some of the doctors, and my own personal belief is I believe that he could hear some things, and I believe that he was also in between worlds, dimensions, whatever you want to say. So we just kept good vibes. We played the Beatles. He loved the Beatles. So we played the Beatles. We had a lot of visitors and family. So that is what happened with the final moments. Luke was in a medically induced coma for 3 days, and then he transitioned, and he's still with us, but he's just not here physically. Yeah,
definitely. I definitely believe that about my brother as well. So.
Oh yeah. It's there's been too many signs for me otherwise. So it's showing me this.
I definitely agree that something will happen. My brother loved to use the word awesome, and someone will use it, and I'll be like, you know what? Sometimes I just feel like,
that's it. That's him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's good. It's there's people that believe in all kinds of things, but it's just, whatever you believe, it makes you feel good and gives you some comfort, then that's okay. Believe what you need to believe. So
exactly.
As difficult as it is some days not to hear his laugh or smell him or touch him, he's there.
Yeah.
He's definitely there.
100% agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, by the way. I hope
Yes,
any information that we share with each other, I feel like it can only help someone else, right? So,
I
um,
believe so too. I believe so too. And I think one of your questions was any advice
yeah, I was
that I
actually
would
just going to
offer.
ask you
Were
that.
you going to ask that?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
definitely.
it's and this particular advice, I think, would last. It can last. I mean, I think in the beginning,
Mhm.
um, I had the head of CCBD at Children's Hospital, Dr. Leah Gore. She gave me this recommendation. She said, um, keep a running list of things that need to be done in the
Mhm.
beginning when it's just so hectic, so that when people ask, how can I help? You could say, oh my gosh, can you take Tootsie to the vet? Or can you buy some cat food? Or can you pick up my
Yeah.
dry cleaning, please? So you have these things,
Mhm.
because people want to help
Mhm.
and they will help. You will see people just go above and beyond.
Mhm. Yes.
And so that's, I think, the one piece of advice I have for
Mhm.
immediately in that chaotic time after
Yeah.
diagnosis. But then in general, just across really the rest of your life, because grief is just a journey. I mean, and this has changed your life forever. Be so gentle with yourself. Be so gentle with your thoughts, your words to yourself, your thoughts and your words to other people.
Mhm.
Um, if you get, it's a matter of just having, it's kind of like talk to yourself, uh like you would a little kid. And
Right.
this is a good recommendation in life.
Yeah.
Would you be angry if they did this, or they needed to take a nap in the middle of the day or something? Would you say you need to get up and work? So be really, really gentle with yourself, and don't feel like you need to make any commitments or obligations to
Mhm.
any social gatherings
Yeah.
or any
Definitely.
family events. It's different for every family who experiences this, but um, family events are tough. They're really hard after this, and we're going on 3 years and it's still hard for us. Make your own plans and do what make new traditions.
Yeah.
If your family doesn't understand that, that's okay.
Mhm.
They will eventually, and if they don't, it's just a matter of keeping keep the four of us. This is what we focus on.
Mhm. Yeah.
Does this feel good to us?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. Okay. Does it feel not good? Didn't feel good. All right, let's not do it. you
Yeah.
know and
Yeah.
just be easy on yourself, I think, is really my main advice. It's
Yeah.
just, you're going through something that no parent should go through. It's just unimaginable.
Yeah.
So we just remember that you can say no, and people, if they don't understand, oh well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. I think I've heard this from both of your pieces of advice. I think I've heard it
Yeah.
from so many people, like that in the beginning it is chaotic. Like I remember my parents doing so much research and trying to figure out how many clinical trials were there, like all over the country, right? Not just like your own state. Um, and
And
then
that is left to the parents to research,
exactly.
really. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that having something specific, like you mentioned, I think someone else was telling me this too. It just helps, right? When you can help people help you, it's just
Mhm.
things get done faster. And then,
Yeah.
I mean, definitely the last one. Yeah. I think we all tend to be a little hard on ourselves, but
Because it's
yeah,
hard to even, it's difficult to exist
yeah,
in this state. So simply getting up and getting dressed and feeding yourself and feeding your family can sometimes just be all you can do that day.
yeah, definitely.
And you can't say, oh, I got to be doing this and this. Take care of yourself, take care of if they're fed, if they're healthy, and just those basic needs. And sometimes that's all you can do.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. And I think some days that's enough, right? Like that's all. Yeah,
that's it. That's
yeah.
enough. Yeah. And that's something we learned from, well, just from being in this experience, but we learned that term from, we went into grief counseling right away as a family.
Mhm.
And now so my daughter has a therapist, I have a therapist, my husband has a therapist. So we're maintaining that, which is good.
Yeah.
But our family therapist helped
Mhm.
us say, just it's good enough. Just tell
Yeah.
yourself it's good enough.
Yeah.
If you had the energy, you could do this, but you don't. So
Yeah.
it's good enough. I think it's imperative to just emphasize how
Mhm.
much energy it takes just
Yeah.
to get up and get
Yeah.
going.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
thank you for sharing that. Like, I
sure.
definitely think it's important for people to hear, especially if, they are going through it or just, we're always going through it. I think once you start, the journey kind of never ends in a sense.
It really doesn't. So coming together and collaborating is where I see the power in making change
Yeah,
here for
definitely.
this. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're definitely stronger when we're, all fighting together. Yeah, for sure.
Because every little piece, no matter every little dollar, every little penny that goes into DIPG research, wherever,
Mhm.
it's going to benefit DIPG research. Doesn't matter if it's, we all have our passions for places, but
Right.
at the same, we're just all in the same, we're trying to achieve the same thing, which
Yeah.
is better treatment options
Mhm.
and hopefully a cure that allows these kids to live a somewhat normal, healthy life
Yeah.
after the cure. So
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
But yeah, that's all the questions that I have for you.
that
But
was great.
much.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
hope I didn't forget anything. I probably did, but you know what?
No,
That's
no, it
okay.
was great. I really enjoyed
Good.
talking to you. And thank
You
you so much
too.
for sharing Luke's story. Like, I think it was very, it's just, touching when other people feel open enough to share it with you. And so thank you for that.
You're welcome. I'm honored to do it. It's Luke is close to me every time I tell these stories, and it's what I'm supposed to do. So I
Yeah.
am happy to do it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything you're doing. Will anyone out there join the Fall Fest 5K? You can
Yes.
even join in Zurich if you'd like. They can do out of country. So if anyone would like to, just please join. And I thank you and I thank anyone out there who's listening because it means they're dedicated to
Mhm.
kicking DIPG butt as well.
Once again, thank you, Jill, for speaking with me and sharing Luke's story. For anyone interested in the Fall Fest 5K that Jill talked about, there will be a link on our website, www.heartherare.com. So please go check that out. It will be under episode number 6. Like always, please like and subscribe to all our podcast channels and also to our Instagram and Facebook page, Hear the Rare Podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or want to be a guest on the show, please email us at heartherare@gmail.com. For today's gratitude, I would just like to say thank you to everyone who so openly and bravely speaks about their experiences with DIPG. It truly inspires me and I'm sure so many other people. So thank you. That's it for me on this episode of Hear the Rare. I'll see you next time.